A Tigray military commander has deserted. He has joined TPF, according to the pictures being shared by Tigray Peace Force. Secondly, what happened to the attempt made by religious leaders to negotiate between federal government and Tigray? I have an update for you. Uh, what were the demands made by the federal government conveyed through the mediators to Tigray side yesterday? Details for you in this video. Let's start with the story about a Tigray military commander of Army 24 who has joined TPF. Pictures are in circulation showing Ashanafi Abraha, who has joined TPF. The man can be seen with his driver and vehicle. TPF now has a vehicle too. This is the first time that TPF fighters can be seen with a vehicle. They have been seen with weapons, but we did not see them using any vehicles. Shinafi Abraha is now part of Tigray Peace Force. 2 to 3 days ago, members of Army 92 joined TPF. Some are joining, others are leaving TPF. I did 2 videos about Major Esmiram and another commander who deserted TPF. They returned to Tigray. So new people are joining TPF, and some who have been part of TPF, they are returning to Tigray. Now back to the main story, which is about mediation rather, between Ethiopian federal government and Tigray leaders. PM Abiy a few days ago urged religious leaders, investors, and diplomats to intervene to avert a war in northern Ethiopia. After that, a Tigrayan Orthodox Church elders delegation visited Addis Ababa, but the delegation, the Orthodox Church, issued a statement before their visit to Addis Ababa, and the statement was heavily pro TPLF, pro Tigray. Then mediators from Addis Ababa arrived in Mekelle yesterday. 21 religious leaders representing 7 religious institutions arrived in Mekelle. They met with TPLF leaders, Tigray interim government officials. Senior Orthodox Church and Muslim clerics were part of this delegation. Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Supreme Council Chief Sheikh Ibrahim was there. Then Abune Saviros, an Archbishop of the Orthodox Church of Ethiopia, was there too, and several others, big names, were there in Mekelle yesterday. Interestingly, these mediators came to Tigray with the demands of the federal government. They shared demands of the federal government with Tigray side, and Tigray side shared their demands with the religious leaders, and then they returned. Which demands did they come with? Which demands of the federal government did they share with Tigray side? And are these demands negotiable, or very tall demands which perhaps are a no starter for negotiations? Well, the list of demands is definitely a non-starter for negotiations. What does federal government want from Tigray? Firstly, it wants TPLF to cease all activities as Nebe has declared TPLF, Nebe has revoked TPLF's license as a political party. The federal government, through the mediators, intimated TPLF that TPLF cannot carry out any political activity. Immediately, it should stop all political activities, which won't happen. TPLF says that its status is not bound to the decision of NABE. It wants restoration of its status, which is in accordance with Pretoria deal. That is why TPLF won't stop these activities. Secondly, the delegation asked Tigray to cut off links with Eritrea. Again, it won't happen. Eritrea is now strategic partner for Tigray. Tigray relations flourishing. Bilateral trade in the form of smuggling ongoing. People contact happening. PFDJ, TPLF meeting, ENDF, EDF holding meeting. So it won't happen. Thirdly, the delegation demanded handing over of those channels, those Tigray leaders who are wanted in Addis Ababa. Wanted by federal government or federal law enforcement institutions like Govt and others, which again won't happen. Govt was federal government demanded Govt's custody in 2022 before the start of war. It did not happen. So again, non-starter for negotiations. Fourthly, DDR, federal government wants speedy DDR. It wants generals to be relieved as well. Generals cannot be part of military, Tigray military. They cannot form a military. So federal government wants speedy DDR. DDR is set to end in September, first round. Second round won't start because Tigray leaders have been saying that if issue of Volkite is not solved, DDR second phase won't start. Next demand made by the federal government is that TPLF must withdraw from interim government. It is not a party now. It cannot be represented in interim government. New interim inclusive government of all stakeholders should be formed in Tigray. Again, that won't happen because everybody forgot. I told you about a 9-member committee formed in Tigray, high-powered committee. 4 from TPLF, 5 from Tigray military. They are the ones leading the region, making big decisions, or it won't happen. These are types of demands which have been made by the federal government. Similar demands, there could be some others too, but all these demands are basically showing that federal government has taken a very strong position. It is not showing any flexibility. Or maybe since negotiations are starting, so both sides want to take extreme positions and then they'll soften up the positions if they meet. Will they soften up or will they become more rigid? Federal government's delegation came with federal government's demands. Tigray's delegation went with Tigray's demands. What are Tigray's demands? Restoration of TPLF status, firstly. An end to support for TPF by federal government. Return of Volkite and Raya, especially Volkite, to Tigray government. Return of IDPs. Withdrawal of all non-ENDF forces from Tigray. By the way, federal government wants deployment of federal forces to Tigray, and it's one of the demands made by this delegation. Demands made by the federal government, shared by the delegation with the Tigray side, that federal government wants the entry of federal forces to Tigray to secure Tigray's border, especially with Eritrea. So, Tigray's counter demand is that it wants all non-ENDF forces to withdraw from Tigray. Then the next demand by Tigray is the implementation of Pretoria deal, start a political dialogue, etc., etc. So both sides have taken some extreme positions. I think they will have to meet directly. They should hold direct talks. Only then we could see some progress. These religious leaders are serving as messengers. They're not mediators. Mediators have the power, they have the influence to bring the parties to table, to tell them to sign agreements and to enforce agreements, like US did. US facilitated Victoria deal. Without US, it wasn't possible. Why? Because US had the power. So these mediators are insignificant. I think if the two sides really want solution, they should hold direct talks. Will they hold direct talks? Let's see. Thank you for watching.